Baldwin Arena at Southern Virginia University for tonight's women's basketball game featuring the Mary Baldwin University Fighting Squirrels and your Southern Virginia University Knights. President Denna and the Southern Virginia University staff, thank you for your support of the student athletes and coaches participating in today's contest. The NCAA and the USA South Athletic Conference promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in the positive manner. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or intimidating actions directed at coaches, players, officials, or any other team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco is strictly prohibited. Please stay away from the playing area and team bench areas. Thank you for your cooperation. In accordance with tradition at Southern Virginia University, we will begin with the word of prayer, which will be offered by Haley Butterfield from our cheer team.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this beautiful day. We're so thankful for the rain that we've received, and we're so thankful for our opportunity to play today. Please keep all of our athletes safe, and please help bless us with good sportsmanship, and please help us to have a great rest of our night. We love you, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now, if you will all please rise and face the flag as the Southern Virginia University Pep Band plays our nation's national anthem. Thank you. And now for the starting lineups. Starting tonight for the Squirrels.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's broadcasting for today's presentation of Southern Virginia University Athletics. Tonight's NCAA Division III women's basketball matchup will be between the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weeder, joined once again by my good friend Christian Clement for another important conference matchup for the Knights as they look to continue their rise in the conference rankings, this time against the Fighting Squirrels. And Christian, you and I were talking before the game. We talked to Coach Brett Schroeder, assistant coach for the women's Southern Virginia team. We talked to some coaches for, of course, Mary Baldwin. An interesting situation for the Fighting Squirrels tonight. They have 11 players listed on their roster, only 6 dressed tonight. Now, for those back home who know basketball, you know only 5 players can be on the court at a time. So the Fighting Squirrels only have 1 substitute throughout the entire game. So it all comes down to depth. It's going to be an interesting night, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Like you said, we were talking with Brett Schroeder earlier and asking him what the game plan was. And, well, he's basically nailed it down to 4 key points. Stop number 1, Clark. That is going to be one of the key goals for them tonight. Stop the point scorers, stop their lead scorer, and make the other team, make them use their other players for shooting, who don't really have all that good percentage of shooting.
Absolutely. Shooting has been a struggle so far for the Fighting Squirrels this year, just below 20% from the three-point line and just around 34% from the field. It's been a struggle, to say the least. Some other things he pointed out was share the sugar. He pointed that out, and I love that phrase, basically saying distribute it to your teammates, show love to your teammates, let them know that they can make plays. They want to get more than 18 assists tonight as a team, which, again, is very, very possible as they plan to run the floor quite a lot. Because, again, Southern Virginia has the depth advantage. They have a lot of players that can come off the bench, provide quality minutes, and they want to make sure they have enough fresh legs out there as possible. So, again, running the floor, getting the fast break points, forcing turnovers, and getting points off those turnovers as we get ready for the tip-off. Got the starters for the Fighting Squirrels. Number 1, Michaela Clark. We talked about her. Leading scorer for the Fighting Squirrels. Number 4, Amari Knight. Number 14, Gigi Gilmore. That 3 that time from Camden. So the Knights starting off quick and applying full court pressure. More starters for the Fighting Squirrels. Number 20, Ace Fairwright. Number 40, Cody Heilig. Easy shot that time for Amari Knight. The Fighting Squirrels able to break the full court pressure.
Yeah, no, we're already seeing the run the floor plan from the Schroeders. With the Knights running the full court press, probably going to be consistent tonight since they have that in-depth bench that they can call to if they need to.
Snyder for 3 off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded by McRolla. Olsen the jumper, that's good. So 2 possessions, 2 scores for Southern Virginia. And once again applying that full court pressure. Olsen takes it away. Vents ahead to Camden to pass it to Newman. Left hand up and in. Again, the Knights know their depth advantage on the bench, and so they're going to use that as much as possible. They want to tire out the Fighting Squirrels and all 6 of their players. Here's mid-range jumper. Up and good for Knight, the freshman from Concord, North Carolina. The Knights scoring early and often so far in this first quarter. In the paint to Olsen. They're called travel. Actually, no, 3-second violation on Courtney Olsen. Fighting Squirrels find the pressure. They're going to call a foul here on Camden. She was reaching in. Now, another thing, Christian, that you and I talked about due to Mary Baldwin's limited roster is that they have to be very careful when it comes to fouls. They cannot afford to lose 1 player or else they risk only having 5 players and no substitutes and just running themselves ragged. Takeaway from Olsen. She's got numbers. Pass ahead to Snyder. Left hand and good. The no-look pass from Courtney Olsen.
You gotta love the confidence from Courtney Olsen there. She knew where her teammate was and just made it an easy.
Camden gets the steal, up with a shot. She's fouled on the way up and will go to the line. And I mentioned the conference implications for this game for Southern Virginia. Currently, they stand at 4th in the USA South with a conference record of 9-3. Camden goes up with the first free throw off the front of the rim, no good. And they are actually tied for 3rd with North Carolina Wesleyan, who's also 3rd in the conference at 9-3. And they have Brevard College at number 2. And North Carolina Wesleyan plays Methodist tonight. And Brevard plays Pfeiffer. And so if both of them lose, Southern Virginia will be able to leap ahead or at least tie for second in the conference. Of course, Brevard being the second team in the conference and a recent team that Southern Virginia defeated. So again, you got to take care of business tonight, and always some things fall in your favor. There's still more season to go, but at this point in the season, you want to make sure you do everything you can to build yourself up in the conference standings come conference tournament time. That was knocked out of bounds by the Knights. It stays with the Fighting Squirrels. That's going to be a double dribble on Heilig. She's trying to advance it up ahead to number 14, Gigi Gilmore. And the lane quickly closed off, and she had to second guess herself. So now the ball goes back to the Knights. Here's Snyder. And taken away by the Fighting Squirrels. This is Clark. She's the leading scorer for the Fighting Squirrels for a reason. And it just shows as the Knights, you have the lead right now, but you still got to be careful with that ball. Olsen dribbling baseline. Euro step up with the right hand and good. Able to weave through the defenders and get the score. Another takeaway by Camden, up and in. You know, Christian, you and I were talking before the game about what defenders will be used to go up against Michaela Clark of Mary Baldwin. And I honestly, personally believe that arguably the best defender on this squad, as far as hustle-wise, is Emma Camden. And we've seen that with multiple steals to her name so far tonight. Snyder hits the ground hard, wanting the offensive foul, gets the takeaway instead and gets fouled. That time the whistle goes in her favor. Snyder slow to get up. Got Maria Savoon checking in for Snyder. She'll get a well-deserved break.
It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be on number one. Is it going to be Savoon, or are they going to keep Emma on her?
That is a good question, as both Savoon and Camden have proven to be very formidable defenders against the point guard. Both very quick feet. Newman trying to get it inside to Olsen. Pass to McRolla. Up the right hand and in.
You gotta love the sister energy between Allie and Courtney.
You know, in men's volleyball for Southern Virginia, you have the Schaefer special. I want to call that the McRolla something or other. You can't necessarily copy the special. You got to do something different, but we have to come up with the name at some point. Because again, like you said, that connection, that chemistry working out very well that time. The ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Fighting Squirrels. Yeah,
and it was actually a personal foul on Savoon when she was trying to go down on that one.
I stand corrected. Indeed, it was a foul on Savoon. It'll be her first of the game. Mid-range jumper up, no good. Heilig ends up coming down with it, up and in. Hard-fought rebound for Heilig. Knights have an 8-point lead. Olsen dribbling in, kicks it out to Newman. McRolla driving in now, trying to pass it inside to Camden. But McRolla is fouled in the process. That would have been a really nice basket for Camden as she had the reverse layup. Subbing in for the Knights is number 2, Presley Hagee. And Presley Hagee had a phenomenal first half against Brevard College this past week, where she scored 12 points in the first quarter, 1 in the second. Was one of the leading scorers for the Knights. That three-pointer from Newman, no good, and rebounded by Knight.
Yeah, I was wondering how long it was going to take till they put Hagee. Hagee has just been showing the coaches that she's willing to step up to the players, and showing that even though she's a freshman. She can be worth. She's worth her weight in gold for the Knights.
She's absolutely done a fantastic job, both defensively, rebounding, scoring when it's needed. Really found her role with this Knights team. Shot clock winding down. Under 10 seconds. Newman dribbling in. Heggie for three. Knocks it down. We've talked about Heggie. Earlier in the season, she struggled to get her rhythm for the three-point line, but recently she's really been able to find her stride. So now the Knights with an 11-point lead. Driving to the paint. Up, no good, but a good dribble drive there from Ace Fairwright. Advanced up ahead to Savoon. Heilig doing a good job getting back defensively. They're going to call travel that time on Olsen. Media timeout here at the barn as the Knights hold a 19-8 lead. Again, utilizing their depth and the ability to sub in a lot of players to really try to run the Fighting Squirrels ragged with full court press, with high pressure defense. Right now, leading the way for Southern Virginia in scoring, Emma Camden with 6. Again, all of those coming off of steals. Just doing a fantastic job at capitalizing on turnovers. And then following her, you got Addison Newman. Oh, excuse me, that was rebounds, excuse me. Camden with 6 points. Olsen with 4 points. Heggie with 3 with that recent three-pointer she just made. Right now for the Fighting Squirrels, leading the way is Amari Knight with 4 points, Michaela Clark with 2, and Cody Heilig with 2. So when we talked to Brett Schroeder, he talked about limiting Michaela Clark in scoring, which so far the Knights have done that, limiting her to only 1 basket with just under 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. And you're pretty much doing everything that you set out to do if you're the Knights.
Yeah, for sure. And then it looks like number 3 for the Fighting Squirrels, that's going to be Delaney Garner's checking in. So we'll see what she can bring to this.
Indeed, she is the lone substitute for the Fighting Squirrel, or I guess the lone off the bench player for Mary Baldwin, the junior from Beverly Hills, Florida. So the Fighting Squirrels have it. Trailing by 11. Knocked out of bounds by Olsen.
Looks like the Knights are going to hold off on doing the full court press for just a little bit here.
The thing about the full court press is as it's taken away once again by Camden, saving it, getting it to Savoon. But a short pass taken away by Clark. Savoon was trying to advance it ahead to Newman. That's going to be out of bounds in the Fighting Squirrels, and some substitutions for the Knights, including number 32, Asia Foster, and number 22, Barrett Jessup. Foster's been another player on this Knights roster that really has gotten some more playing time over the past couple of weeks, has provided some very quality minutes, including some very clutch baskets against Brevard College last week in that overtime thriller. Jessup dribbles in, the right hand up, no good. Knocked out of bounds. I believe it was last touched by Foster, so it'll go back to Mary Baldwin.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have Taylor stick on number 1. They're going to have Taylor on Clark, so it's going to be interesting to see how that matchup is going to go.
That's actually Addison Newman that'll be defending Clark. That's taken away by Heggie. Advanced ahead to Jessup. Has to save it from going out of bounds. Savoon kicks it out to Heggie. Another 3 for Heggie. Up, no good. Rebounded by Jessup. Kicks it out to Newman. Hesitates on the mid-range jumper. Savoon, wide open lane, up with the left hand and in.
Savoon is one of those players that has unfortunately been struggling to find baskets as of late. So it's nice to see that she finally is able to get that.
Again, the lane was nice and open for her to dribble into, and she's got that quickness to take advantage. That's going to be a travel called on Garner. Another substitution for Southern Virginia in number 1, J.D. O'Bray.
Now that Addison's off the field, I wonder if they're going to switch Savoon over to Clark.
I'd imagine that may be the case, but O'Bray is not an incapable defender herself. They might just have her on her. Jessup for three. That's good for Jessup.
Nothing but net on that shot. Just shows you how much confidence she has shooting from the top of the key.
Indeed, the senior from Salt Lake City, Utah, getting on the board.
Yeah, it looks like so they're going to go with Savoon on number one.
The dribble drive, up and good for Clark. Pass nearly resulting in a turnover for Southern Virginia. They're going to call a moving screen on Asia Foster. She set a screen on the right side, quickly turned around and was still moving her feet. And that is Foster's first foul.
Coming back in for the Fighting Squirrels is going to be Gigi.
Gigi Gilmore, the freshman from Culpeper, Virginia. Tough dribble drive that time for Knight. Knocks it down. Trying to pass it inside to Aubrey. Heggie for three. That's just long. Rebounded. Shot clock will be winding down though as it didn't touch the rim. Heggie, another three. That goes down to beat the buzzer.
She shot that ball from when she had a foot on the three, so they counted that
Indeed.
as a two. But still, a marvelous shot from Haggie.
Absolutely knocking it down in spite of her just moments before airballing a three. So 16 seconds left in the corner. Savoon trying to get the steal from Clark. Shot clock and game clock are separated by 2 seconds. So 2 seconds on the shot clock, 4.7 seconds left in the quarter. So the Fighting Squirrels need to get the pass inbounded, then quickly shoot.
That's going to be out of bounds on Haggie there.
That's taken away by Foster. Does not get the shot off in time. Just barely did not get the layup off in time. Coaches are wanting it to count because it looks like that possibly there had been a player that got into the net, so they might call goaltending. The ref's talking it over. Does not look like they'll be changing that call. But again, Foster able to get the steal. They advance it up the floor to Savoon. It's a well set up play, just not quite enough time.
Again, Savoon showing that in clutch moments, she can make that shot.
Indeed, she had a last-second shot to end the first half against Brevard College. Again, a game that was decided by just 2 points. So again, making shots that really matter. And right now, Southern Virginia dominating in so many categories right now. They've attempted 16 shots compared to Mary Baldwin's 9. They've made 3 out of 7 three-pointers, shooting 42.9%. 2 of those three-pointers coming, well, I guess 1 three-pointer from Presley Heggie. Would have been 2, had her foot not been on the line on the last one. But Mary Baldwin hasn't attempted a single 3. Mary Baldwin hasn't gotten to the free throw line. And the Knights are out rebounding the Fighting Squirrels 5-2. And again, they're also just playing fantastic pressure defense, especially with the full court press earlier on in the first quarter.
Knights bringing the starters out to start the second quarter.
That's going to travel on Gilmore. And indeed, the starters for Southern Virginia back out like you just said, with Camden, Snyder, Newman, McRolla, and Olson. And the same starters for the Fighting Squirrels as well in Clark, Knight, Gilmore, Fairwright, and Heilig. Excuse me, they don't have Heilig in. Instead, they have Delaney Garner. Great pass from Camden. Snyder for 3. That's good.
Now this is what you kind of like to see, that the Knights like to see, because they're known as the three-point team. They're known for shooting those threes because they have the girls capable of shooting those threes. It's been kind of dry for the past couple of games, but now it looks like, at least for now, it's looking like they're able to find it.
Another call, foul here on Newman as she was reaching in. That'll be her first personal foul. And Snyder after that, three-pointers now 1 for 2 on three-point attempts, 2 for 3 from the field with 5 points. All but 2 players for Southern Virginia who have touched the floor have scored at least once. Here's the three. No good. I'll be knocked out of bounds by Clark.
Looks like it was good. They did a double screen on Courtney just to make sure 20 had the shot.
Indeed, and again, that is the first three-point attempt for the Squirrels tonight. That was Fairright on the three-point attempt. Pass inside to Newman. She'll be fouled on the way up. Love the court vision there as Newman was cut into the basket. A little backside cut. Olsen saw it, had the perfect lob over top. Heilig will be checking in for the Fighting Squirrels in place of Gigi Gilmore.
That's going to be Gilmore's second personal foul. And as we mentioned early in the broadcast, personal fouls is going to be a huge game changer for them.
Absolutely. They got to be very, very careful because, again, they only have 1 player to spare on the bench. Second free throw is good for Newman. Clark with it. Newman defending. Pass inside. Shot clock winding down. Clark up with the right hand in the paint. No good. Be a whistle blown. Their call a shooting foul on Abigail Snyder. That'll be a first personal foul. And Clark will go to the free throw line.
Clark is definitely one of their better shots. She's shooting 63% from the free throw line, and she's got the most points for them at 243 points.
That first free throw for Clark is good. Gives her 5 points on the night. Second free throw pending. Second free throw is good. She is now tied for first in scoring for the Fighting Squirrels with Amari Knight, both with 6 apiece. Olsen working on Heilig. Kick out to McRolla. Dribble drive, right hand, up and in. Beautiful setup. The Knights are trying to dribble baseline, try to create some openings in the passing lane. That time works to perfection. Another takeaway for the Knights. Snyder for 3. Beautiful ball movement results in 3 for the Knights.
Snyder's definitely confident. Snyder's definitely confident in that three-point shot. If she's wide open, they're going to let that go every single time.
Absolutely, and so now Snyder is 2 for 3 from the three-point line. Now with 8 points, she now leads the Knights in scoring as Southern Virginia has a 36-14 lead with 7 minutes and 22 seconds left in this second quarter. Again, the Knights really came here to execute. They came here to execute their game plan, and you know, one thing that's very easy to do in games like this where the odds are stacked in your favor. The other team only has 6 players dressing out. You know, their win-loss record is 1-18. They've struggled this year to get wins. It's easy to just simply write it off and kind of sleepwalk your way through it. That is not what Southern Virginia has done here so far tonight. They have executed. They have played tough defense. They have gotten steals out the wazoo. I mean, the turnovers they've been able to force. Mary Baldwin has 13 turnovers compared to Southern Virginia's 5. And again, Southern Virginia just doing a fantastic job of creating that pressure And we mentioned how Southern Virginia's goal is to get 18 or more assists in this game. They have 10 right now, with 7.5 minutes remaining in the first half.
They definitely are, as you put it earlier, as both you and Coach Schroeder put it, they are definitely passing the sugar.
They indeed are sharing the sugar. Yes, it's the dinner table. Got a nice little pie in front of you. Put some sugar on it. You love to see it. So now Clark with it for the Fighting Squirrels. Takeaway from Southern Virginia once again. That time Snyder coming down with it. Great cut to the basket for Newman. Pass a little low. Newman doing a good job of fighting for it, and it stays with the Knights with a jump ball. You know, another thing too, Southern Virginia had recently gotten that overtime victory over the second-ranked team in the conference, Brevard College. Again, you could have easily taken that and said, oh, we just beat the second-ranked team in our conference. We can kind of like walk through this one. But again, the Knights didn't do that so far, and that just is a sign of a well-coached team that knows not to take any game for granted. Cuts the basket, well defended by Clark. They're called foul here. Indeed, it will be a travel on Clark. Clark knows it too. She took 3 steps. In fact, she turned immediately around and knew they're going to call that a travel. And they would have called the foul, but the travel occurred before any foul would have been committed. Snyder dribbling in, step through, up the right hand, no good. Beautiful move from Snyder. Another takeaway by the Knights.
Courtney got a hand on that one.
Olsen, jump stop, waits for Holly to pass by, misses the shot. A foul on the floor. Got some substitutions for Southern Virginia with Eve Schmalbeck and Asia Foster.
We were talking about Eve earlier, how she hasn't seen a lot of play time, but for me, I think she's one of the sleepers that are on Southern Virginia's bench.
Absolutely. You see the way that she plays, her passing game. She sees the court very, very well. And just a solid defender. Another takeaway for Southern Virginia. Step through. McRolla is fouled on the way up. She'll go to the line and shoot 2. Got some more substitutions for the Knights, including Hagee and Savoon. They will replace Snyder, and Hagee will come in from McRolla once she is done shooting her free throws. First free throw is good.
Again, Southern Virginia showing their bench capabilities that they have. Being able to rest their starters and give them a little bit of a breather, but also at the same time knowing that they have the players that are good to be able to keep up what they've been doing on defense.
Absolutely. Players they can substitute and maintain the quality of play that they have had so far in this first half. The jumper up and good that time for Fairwright. Newman step through, no good. Brought down by Heilig. There's a good step through move by Newman.
Savoon almost was able to grab that.
Trying to reverse layup, up and in, that time for Fairwright.
Fairwright showing that even though Clark hasn't been able to do really much anything in this game, they still have the depth and the player base and the skill to be able to do something with it.
They're going to call no shot. Foul on the floor by Amari Knight. And Presley Hagee will check in for Southern Virginia. Fairwright now is second in scoring for the Fighting Squirrels with 4 points. She is just behind Clark and Knight, who are tied for first in scoring chart with 6 points apiece. Foster, mid-range jumper. Back to the rim, no good. Rebounded by Schmalbeck. They're going to call foul here on Foster. They're going to say she went pushed for the rebound. That is her second foul. Now checking in for Newman will be number 22, Barrett Jessup.
Jessup also hasn't seen a lot of play these past few games either.
But earlier today, she's able to knock down a three-pointer to help the Knights gain some momentum.
Savoon able to get the pick off to break the momentum just a little bit.
Clark steps out of bounds. So another turnover.
That is going to be 18 turnovers for the Fighting Squirrels so far.
Foster trying to get inside to Schmalbeck. There's a scruffle for the ball. A jump ball, but it'll stay with Southern Virginia. So very sloppy play. As Heilig didn't see the ball rolling around, then Foster tried to dive for it. Schmalbeck was there, and she ended up falling in front of her. So the Knights very glad to have that back. Shot clock winding down. Schmalbeck has to get a shot off. Didn't realize the shot clock was winding down, so she passed to Savoon in the corner. Not able to get the shot off in time. Wasn't a great quality shot to begin with, as she had to rush her shot.
Savoon's going to be on Clark. I like that matchup using Savoon on Clark. Savoon has got the quickness that Clark has, so she's able to match pace for pace with Clark.
Foster nearly able to get the takeaway. Pass intended for Clark, sails out of bounds. Some more substitutions for the Knights, including J.D. O'Bray, as well as Ruth Kempler.
Ruth is also another one of those sleepers that Southern Virginia has. Like when they need to give Courtney a rest, they usually have Ruth or Allie check in.
Jessup for three, wide open. No one around her, decides why not and knocks it down.
Jessup again showing that, hey, you give me the room, I will make you pay for it.
Indeed she does. She now has 6 points. She's 2 for 2 from behind the arc. And I mentioned Ruth Kempler. One of the great traits that she has, she's a very consistent mid-range shooter. She's got a very clean-looking shot. That floater no good, rebounded by O'Bray.
Kind of a rush shot from Clark.
Savoon in the paint to O'Bray. Trying to get it to Kempler. O'Bray had an opening in the paint. Probably could have gone up strong with it.
But again, they're trying to show off that, hey, we have shooters, but also at the same time, the rest of our guys are shooters too. So we're not only just, you block one, we're not done.
Absolutely, as the Fighting Squirrels working with it now. Pass inside. Going up strong and fouled on the way up is Amari Knight. She will go to the free throw line and shoot two. That is on O'Bray. Substitution for the Fighting Squirrels and number 14, Gigi Gilmore, the freshman from Culpeper, Virginia. First free throw up and no good for Knight.
Which is not normal for Knight. Coming into this game, she was shooting 51% from the free throw line.
Second free throw is in, and now she takes the lead in scoring for the Fighting Squirrels with 7 points to her name. Gets ahead to Kempler, gets an opening, up and in for Kempler.
Kempler using that 6'3" frame that she has to go up and over her opponents.
Indeed, and Hagee passing it over Heilig to get it to her. Heilig with a pump fake. 2 minutes remaining in this first half. A call foul here on Kempler. A little hand check foul as she's trying to keep Heilig in front of her. That'll be 2 free throws for Heilig, the senior from Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Heilig slow to get up on that one.
Indeed, she took a hard fall as that first free throw is up and good.
Heilig shooting 61% from the free throw line coming into this game.
Both teams right now capitalizing at the line. Fighting Squirrels now 5 of 6, and Southern Virginia is 4 of 6. Identical free throw percentage numbers.
It's been a relatively clean game from both teams, but of course, with the Fighting Squirrels not having the...
Jessup for 3, knocks down another one. Jessup now 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
As I was saying, it's been a relatively clean game, but of course the Fighting Squirrels don't have that depth as Southern Virginia does, so they're having to play it just a little bit safe on defense and offense.
Great pass ahead that time for Ace Fairwright, able to knock it down. Savoon gets the screen from Kempler. Kempler for 3. Off the back of the backboard, no good. Shot clock resets.
Kempler's not really known for her three, so it was interesting to see her even take that shot.
Obrey gets fouled, driving to the basket. Foul beyond Gigi Gilmore. You know, if you watch Ruth Kempler practice, she is capable of knocking down threes. She hasn't been able to take a whole lot during the season, of course, but that time when you're wide open and things are falling for you like they are for Barrett Jessup, you think to yourself, why not me too? Kempler, mid-range jumper, off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded by Jessup. Shot clock restarts. Savoon up with the left hand, no good. Rebounded by Kempler, up and in. Multiple second chance opportunities for Southern Virginia.
With that, Clark got substituted in, as it seems that she has a lower body injury. Excuse me.
We sure hope that she is okay.
But at the same time, you have to kind of breathe a sigh of release for Southern Virginia.
That shot no good. And rebounded that time by Garner. And pass to Fairwright for the shot. There was multiple nights in the vicinity. It's really bizarre to see that Garner came down with that rebound. Seconds remaining. Savoon, the 3, no good. Rebounded by Heggie. She has to take the 3. Up. No good to end the first half, but no matter, the Knights are winning 47-25 over the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin. Some team leaders right now, again, with scoring. Southern Virginia doing a fantastic job on capitalizing on opportunities and knocking down three-point shots. Again, we mentioned Jessup now with 9 points. She's leading in scoring, 3 for 3 from behind the three-point line. Snyder follows after her with 8 points to her name. She's 2 for 3 from the three-point line. And then following them is Camden with 6 and Heggie with 5. And multiple players with 5, including McRolla. You also have Newman with 4, Olsen with 4. Again, players all over the place for Southern Virginia. Capitalizing, coming in, making plays, and giving you this lead that you have at the moment. And again, this is a big game for Southern Virginia, looking to build themselves up in the conference standings. They, of course, want some other things to go their way. As I mentioned before, Brevard College is playing Pfeiffer tonight, and North Carolina Wesleyan is playing Methodist, both teams that are ahead of Southern Virginia in the conference standings. So, again, if Southern Virginia wins tonight and those two other teams lose, could very much bode well for Southern Virginia in those conference standings. But with that being said, we'll take a short break as you enjoy Southern Virginia Knights cheer squad. We'll be back for the second half action.
Classic halftime wait. Basically, to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's this type of game.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Clark. Because she's still heavily.
Well, did she get off the court on her own power? Or?
Yeah, but she was favoring that left ankle.
And now let's welcome the Knights cheer team to the floor.
All right, Night fans, you guys already know what time it is. We have our 4 rankings contestants today for a chance to win a free drinks and straws, drinks and eats. Today, for our contestants, we have. The name of this contest is called Name That Theme Song. So I need 2 people on each side of the table. The way that this works, so we'll have Jake and Tyler on this side, we'll have Nolan on that side. You're going to compete in the first 1v1. So it's going to be a semi-final and a final round. I'm going to play a theme song. The way to answer it, when I play it, if you know what it is, you're going to grab the card, and when you get the answer, if it's correct, you move on to the final round. If it's incorrect, the person you're competing against will have a chance to challenge. And if he gets it correct, you're out. You guys got it? If he gets it wrong, then I'll play another song until we have a winner. So right now we'll have Nolan versus Tyler. All right, you guys ready? What is it?
Mission Impossible.
That is correct! Nolan, next time, buddy. All right, now we'll have Mitch and Jake. All right, you guys ready? SpongeBob is correct. Yeah, you're done. All right, so the final round. Thank you guys. You guys know how to have a seat. Give a round of applause for Mitch and Nolan. This is the championship round. Are you guys ready? We have, let me introduce them. We have Jake, Tyler. All right, let's championship round. Here we go. And hit the coach is correct. Give a round of applause for Jake Wilson. All right, thank you guys.
back for the second half action between the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The Knights hold a 47-25 lead coming out of the break. And honestly, in all the categories the Knights wanted to dominate in, they are doing just that. They wanted to have 18-plus assists in the game. They had 13 in that first half. 20 bench points. That's just under half of the points they have right now. Again, a lot of productivity from their bench. 12 steals, 19 forced turnovers, which is exactly what you want against a team, again, that's as short-handed as Mary Baldwin is with their roster. You want to cause a lot of chaos, force turnovers, and not only that, they've been able to capitalize on those turnovers as well.
Yeah, scoring 24 points over those turnovers to Mary Baldwin's 5.
Indeed, taking advantage of those opportunities. And one player that I want to point out here that's leading in scoring for Southern Virginia is a player who doesn't hit the floor a whole lot consistently throughout the year. That is Barrett Jessup. Right now, she's leading the team with 9 points, 3 for 3 from behind the three-point line. Absolutely feeling it tonight from behind the three-point line. Of course, she's followed in scoring by Abigail Snyder, who has 8 points to her name. And again, a lot of different contributors on the floor for Southern Virginia. And so again, a lot of things going right for the Knights in that first half. In fact, they shot over 50% from the three-point line as a team, 7 for 13 from behind the arc. And just really, everything's going well for them. And one thing we talked about, Christian, at the break is that while Mary Baldwin has a higher field goal percentage, they have shot significantly less shots. In fact, they've shot half the amount of shots the Knights have. Mary Baldwin has attempted 16 shots compared to Southern Virginia's 32. And again, a lot of that is due to the forced turnovers and the steals. But if you're Mary Baldwin, one of your main priorities in this half, to try to give yourselves a chance, get more quality shots up. So starting out this second half, we'll have the starters that began this game for Southern Virginia. That being Addison Newman, Emma Camden, Abigail Snyder, Alyssa McRolla, and Courtney Olson. And then for the Fighting Squirrels, you see Michaela Clark out there, which is a good sight to see. She had a bit of issue with a lower body injury at the end of that half. Also Amari Knight. You have also Ace Fairwright, Gigi Gilmore up and in that time for Fairwright. One of the leaders in scoring for the Fighting Squirrels tonight. And also on the floor is number 40, Cody Heilig. Trying to pass to Cutting, Alyssa McRolla. Snyder able to get it back, up the right hand and in. Strong finish from Snyder, as she now takes the lead in scoring for Southern Virginia. The first player on each roster to reach double digits in scoring. Clark, that's no good. I believe it may have been a mid-range jumper. Her foot may have been on the three-point line. But it goes out of bounds back to the Fighting Squirrels.
Yeah, they're calling that out on Addison Newman when she touched the ball last.
And speaking of which, she gets the steal, advances it ahead to Olsen. She's got numbers. Pass it inside to Snyder, up with the right hand and in. She's now at 12.
Snyder's been one of those also kind of the silent players the past couple of days.
She really does do a great job of just getting consistent shots here and there. She's got great court vision, great court awareness, and able to contribute in a lot of ways. In fact, in Southern Virginia's victory over Brevard College, as Snyder passed it ahead to Newman. Newman up with the left hand and in. Another point for Southern Virginia. I was mentioning the overtime victory for the Knights over Brevard College. Snyder had 11 points. She wasn't just one of the leaders in scoring, she's also one of the leaders in rebounds as well with 8.
So just one of those overall players that SVU has come to love and enjoy from her.
Absolutely, and Snyder, speaking of which, knocks it away. We're going to call a foul here on number 14, Gigi Gilmore. Snyder was going for the steal, but Gilmore knocks her down, trying to prevent her from getting it.
That's going to be Gigi's fourth personal foul.
And again, like we mentioned at the beginning of the game, folks, Mary Baldwin only has 6 players dressed out today. So players getting into foul trouble is a big issue for them. I mean, they already had the fatigue factor going into it. Now you get to the point where if you have a player foul out, you only have 5 players to play. And a lot of that limited roster, as Numa's trying to pass ahead to McRolla, leaves her feet. We called for a travel. But again, a lot of that limited roster is just due to injuries that Mary Baldwin's roster has suffered throughout this season, really making things difficult for them. Here's Clark dribbling in, right hand up, no good, rebounded by Camden. Camden was involved early and often in scoring as the Knights had full court pressure. Knocked out of bounds that time by Knight. It was a great move by Olsen to get past Heilig, but Knight swatting that one out of bounds.
Knight is definitely one of their one of their best blockers they have, so it's no surprise that she was able to time it just right to stop Courtney from going up and taking that shot.
Heilig knocks it away. Olsen gets it back. It's going to be a jump ball, and it stays with the Knights. "17 seconds on the shot clock for Southern Virginia. Cutting inside is McRolla trying to get to it. It'll be another jump ball. This time it'll go to the Fighting Squirrels. Again, Southern Virginia really going for those cuts to the basket. McRolla, one of those that's been targeted very often, but more often than not, the Fighting Squirrels have done a great job at limiting those inside passes. In fact, those inside passes are some of the rare turnovers that the Knights have committed tonight. Shot up, no good, rebounded by Camden. Pass ahead, intended for Olsen. Knocked out of bounds that time by Delaney Garner. Got some substitutions for Southern Virginia. Taking the floor for the first time tonight, number 12, Kinsey Landon, as well as number 34, Rayanne Lessing.
As we were talking about earlier, we were wondering, would we see the entire Knights bench being able to play tonight just because they hold such a good, significant lead over Mary Baldwin?
Of course, as a coach, it's one of your goals is to make sure you can get all the players as much playing time as they possibly can. Lessing, shot no good. But you want to give them all that experience. You want to give them a chance to show what they're capable of, because again, a lot of times in more contested games, they don't really get to, and so people don't see what they're putting into their game at practice. So I'm sure that is the goal for Southern Virginia tonight, of course, as well as winning the game. That rebound from McRolla. Camden for three. Back to the rim, no good. And Landon trying to pass it inside, taken away by Heilig.
That's definitely been one of the things for the Knights, is they're kind of being very sloppy when it comes to those inside passes, and just trying to get that assist has not been helping them much with those inside passes.
Snyder knocks it away. Recovered by McRolla. Euro step trying to pass it inside. She gets fouled on the way up. In that situation, you have a player on the outside to your right. You have a player on the opposite side of the paint. You drive in. Of course, you get the foul, so that's very fortunate. But in that situation, you dish it out. And subbing in for Southern Virginia for the first time in a while is number 3, Taylor Miyazaki.
I think this is actually Taylor's first game this semester, as she's been on the sideline injured.
Indeed, she's been struggling with an injury all season long that she suffered very early on. That 3 from Camden, no good. Rebounded by Miyazaki. Lessing with the rebound as well. Able to shoot it, no good. Knocked out of bounds. Now subbing in for the Knights is number 2, Presley Hagee. She will come in from McRolla.
Looks like McRolla has some type of upper body injury.
And indeed, she got hit pretty hard on that last play. Trainer's going to take a look at her. Camden will be called for a travel on that possession. Taking it down the floor is Fairwright. This foul will be called on Miyazaki.
Miyazaki already showing that She may have been injured, but she doesn't have any rust.
Indeed, again, we've been wanting to see her take the floor because, again, she was a very instrumental part of the team last year and one of the players this coaching staff was very excited about going into this season. So, again, after the injury that she suffered, getting on the floor, getting her comfortable, back in the groove of things is very important for them going forward. That three-pointer, no good. Rebounded by the Fighting Squirrels, up and fouled is Fairwright. She will go to the line.
Nice foul number 10, Emma Camden, her second at the line. Shooting
Another substitution for Southern Virginia, this time
checking in for the nice number 0,
Maria Savoon. Free throw for Fairwright is up and good. You know, in spite of a lot of things going wrong for the Fighting Squirrels so far in this game, free throws is not one of them. Shooting in the mid-80 percentage so far in today's game. As a team only missing one free throw so far. That pass to Savoon going out of bounds. Savoon took her eyes off the ball for just 1 second. That results in a turnover for Southern Virginia. So the Knights in a little bit of an offensive dry spell here with just under 5 minutes to go here in this third quarter. We want to take this brief break to give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're in the Buena Vista, Virginia area for any reason, whether it be visiting campus, visiting your student athlete, or just visiting campus in general, be sure to go stop by Straws Drinks and Eats. They got great drinks, great treats, great places to hang out. It's just a fantastic place overall. Highly recommend it. Thank you so much for your partnership with Southern Virginia Athletics, Straws Drinks and Eats. Now, at this point, again, you're getting a lot of players in if you're Southern Virginia, getting them a lot of experience, a lot of playing time. But right now, it's kind of sloppy. A couple turnovers that resulted in you not being able to get high-quality shots like you were in the first half. But again, great opportunity to make sure that you can utilize these bench players and get them that overall experience. In fact, you know, you look at the stats of this game so far. We mentioned all the things Southern Virginia is leading. There's not been a single second of this game where the Knights have trailed. The only seconds where they haven't been in the lead were when they were tied very early on in the first quarter at 0-0. So the ball will be with the Fighting Squirrels. Savoon will be defending Clark.
Right now, SVU is sitting at 15 assists.
Clark goes up strong, gets fouled on the way up. And again, we pointed out the goal that Southern Virginia had for assists on the night. That is 18 plus. They are just 3 away from accomplishing that with just under 5 minutes to go in this third quarter.
The shooting foul was on Mackenzie late in there.
Landon gets her first foul. Free throw is up and good for Clark.
Clark is definitely one of those players that SVU don't want to foul.
She now sits at 7 points. Make that 8. She is second in scoring behind Fairwright, who has 12. Pass inside to Miyazaki, up, no good, but great pass from Lessing. Comes down with it, it's knocked out of her hands. Recovered by the Knights, Miyazaki for 3. No good, rebounded by Heggie. Inside to Lessing, goes up strong and fouled. And we got a platoon swap for Southern Virginia with the free throw.
Fouls on number 20.
Subbing in for the first time tonight, number 33, Madison Staples. You got a couple of returners to the floor tonight, J.D. O'Bray, Eve Schmalbeck, and Asia Foster. And Barrett Jessup will be checking back in place of Rayanne Lessing. Free throws up, no good for Lessing. Second free throw for Lessing. Free throws up and good. Lessing gets her name on the board.
Little interesting situation was going to happen there. If she missed that second shot, there was not going to be a point guard on the floor for Southern Virginia University because of a miscommunication.
And with Lessing making that free throw, that makes 10 players on Southern Virginia's roster who have scored tonight. Knocked out of bounds that time by O'Bray. Indeed, like I said, Christian, there was conversation, and we need to make sure we have a point guard out there that can facilitate the offense. So after it was knocked out of bounds, it stays with Mary Baldwin. O'Bray on Clark.
I love this matchup from O'Bray is doing
Shot clock violation. Shot attempt by Fairwright.
O'Bray doing really good covering Clark.
Indeed, she was doing a fantastic job making Clark uncomfortable at the top of the key. Jessup at the point. Jessup mid-range shot up, no good. Again, she was 3 for 3 from the three-point line in the first half. That's the first time she's missed a shot tonight. Here's the three, tipped by Foster. Rebounded by Staples. Schmalbeck cutting through. Here's Jessup. Schmalbeck winning the three. She leaves her feet in the pump fake, so it'll be a travel. Knights have struggled with a couple of turnovers here in this third quarter. Still winning in that department, though. Mary Baldwin having committed 24 turnovers, including that one, make that 25 compared to Southern Virginia's 14. Here's Foster. Hand off to Staples for three. Off the backboard in the back of the rim, no good. Rebounded by Fairwright. Advance ahead to Clark. Mid-range jumper for Clark is good. Clark now with 10 points. Trying to get a back screen to Heilig. They're going to call out of bounds on Southern Virginia. Looks pretty clear from here that there is at least two defenders from Mary Baldwin that touched the ball before it went out of bounds, but they're going to call it out on Southern Virginia.
Yeah, no, apparently they saw something that we didn't see.
That's me over and back. Another turnover for the Fighting Squirrels. It'll go to the Knights. Here's Jessup. Cut to the backside by O'Bray. Up with the right hand, up and in.
That's going to be O'Bray's first points of the game.
That makes 11 players for Southern Virginia getting on the scoreboard. Heilig working on Foster. Here's the three. No good. Rebounded by Staples. Staples driving in. Blocked by Amari Knight. Swatting that one out of bounds as Staples hits the ground hard. Able to get back up, fortunately.
Well, that'll give Knight overall all 10 blocks for her career so far, at least in this season.
So it stays with Southern Virginia. They're going to call offensive foul here on Foster. She was trying to set a screen for Jessup to the corner. Trying to get Jessup a corner 3.
Luckily for Jessup, that doesn't count towards her shot, so she's still perfect on the night.
So a timeout called here. Media timeout with just under a minute left to go in this third quarter. Again, we mentioned the fact that there have been 11 players on Southern Virginia's roster that have gotten at least 1 point. And again, we're able to do that. You know you've had a good night. You know you've had a good night as a team when almost everyone that has touched the floor has scored. It's been everyone but 5 players. And again, the fact that there have been 16 players that have seen the floor for Southern Virginia is exactly what we hope to see in a night like tonight, where you have a lot of things standing in your favor. You have the fatigue factor in your favor with Mary Baldwin only having 6 players dressing. And it's just something you love to see. Again, these players getting on the floor in front of their home crowd, in their home stadium, in the arena where they practice every single day. Yeah, it's just always a good feeling for a program to be able to do that. Now, Mary Baldwin playing pretty stingy defense as of late against Southern Virginia. Of course, the latest pass or points from Southern Virginia were O'Bray and that backside cut. Knights definitely wanted to utilize more of those types of plays. Right now, Southern Virginia has it to where 2 posts come up. Point guard gets it into one of them at the top of the paint. And they have a couple of guards cutting in, trying to take advantage of that. Mary Baldwin, their offense seems a little scattered right now, but they're trying to rely on Fairwright, who again has scored a decent amount of points so far tonight. Fairwright leading the way with 12 points to her name, and Clark, of course, following right after with 10.
Which is showing really that the Knights are doing everything that the Schroeders wanted them to do. And right now they are 2 away from hitting that assist mark. They are sitting at 16 assists out of the 18, with still an entire period of still to play.
Indeed, as Jessup defending Clark. His corner 3 from Heilig. No good. Brought down by Jessup. Knights have a different offensive look this time. Good screen up top by Schmalbeck to the corner to O'Bray. It's going to rattle out, no good. Rebounded by Foster, up and in for the and one. Now Foster gets her first points of the night. Make that 12 players.
And that's also at the same time, that's going to be Knight's second personal foul.
Free throw for Foster, up and no good. Rebounded by Schmalbeck. One second between shot and game clock. Schmalbeck, the jumper, no good. So that'll be the end of the third quarter as the Knights maintain a 58-33 lead. That third quarter being a very low scoring affair for Southern Virginia, only scoring 11 points compared to Mary Baldwin's 8. And again, a lot of that due to the fact that there was a lot of rotations happening with Southern Virginia inserting new players into the mix, trying to establish a different type of offensive scheme depending on the personnel you have on the floor. Have another platoon swap for Southern Virginia at the end of this timeout break. I want to take another quick time out to shout out our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. My wife and I go there frequently for a nice soda, great place to relax. My drink of choice would be Dr. Pepper with vanilla, cherry, and lime. And of course, you can't go wrong with adding some almond cream in there. You get some great options at Straws Drinks and Eats.
Yeah, no, Straws Drinks and Eats is again one of those locations here in BV that like, you need a study break? Why not go down and get yourself a drink? And I've also recently heard that they started selling cinnamon rolls.
Sign me up. Can't say no to a good cinnamon roll. Thank you so much for partnering with us at Southern Virginia Athletics, Straws, Drinks, and Eats. On the floor now for Southern Virginia, you have Addison Newman, you have Kenzie Landon, Presley Hagee, Ruth Kempler, and Rayanne Lessing. So again, the Knights going that 2-post look that we saw them utilize the last couple minutes of the third quarter. And on the floor for the Fighting Squirrels. You have Clark, you have Garner, you also have Knight, as well as Fairwright and Heilig. That takeaway from Clark. Clark wide open, left hand up and in. So a quick turnover for Southern Virginia results in points for the Fighting Squirrels. Pass inside to Kempler, trying to go up with a shot. It's blocked out of bounds. Heilig gets her first block of the night. Clark nearly getting a second steal. Knights have to get a shot off. They're going to say that it was a shot clock violation before the foul. That was very, very close. But regardless, it results in another turnover for Southern Virginia.
SVU, I think we're expecting the foul there.
Indeed, they were. Knights now approaching 20 turnovers in the night. That block by Kempler. Fairwright trying to save it from going out of bounds. Hagee able to recover it. Kempler dribbling baseline, jump ball. Great defensive work from Heilig. Landon guarding Clark. Knights playing his own defense. Taken away by Newman. Jessup to Landon. Up left hand, no good. Brought down by Newman. Gets out to Kempler. Kempler not really able to find someone, ends up traveling. That's going to say a 3-second violation. So the Knights didn't get the first look on the steal and potential point off turnover, so what they needed to do was kick it out and try to set up a half-court offense, which they were not successfully able to do. Here's Fairwright.
It's going to be another squad change coming in for SVU.
Indeed, a lot of the starters for the Knights will be checking in. Kempler, the shot, no good. Rebounded by Knight. Landon getting her hand in there will be called for the foul.
Nice foul on number 12, Kinsey Landon, her second.
And for Southern Virginia, you got J.D. O'Bray. You also got Abby Snyder, Eve Schmalbeck, Barrett Jessup, and Courtney Olson. So a few of the starters for tonight's game intermingled with some bench players.
It's really nice to see the coaches being able to mix and match how they want, letting the new ones learn from these veterans.
It also gives you a chance to kind of see which personnels work good together, and that two-point jumper good for Knight. Knight now with 7 points in the game. They call travel on O'Bray as she shifted her foot before making a move towards the basket. So again, the sloppy second half continues. A takeaway by the Knights. O'Bray going up with the right hand, up, no good, rebounded by Olson. They call travel on Olson. Olson was confused as to what resulting in the travel, the ref saying that she kind of hopped a little bit as she made her move.
I overheard Brett Schroeder saying that's 6 turnovers straight so far for Southern Virginia.
Again, they had a relatively clean first half turnover-wise, but now it's become more even. Jump ball result in the ball for the Knights. And Mary Baldwin now with 28 turnovers, Southern Virginia with 22. Now, if you were to look at that stat, you would think that it's been a pretty sloppy game overall for both teams. Not necessarily the case. Like I mentioned, Southern Virginia was very clean about turnovers in the first half, really took care of the ball. It's just the second half, again, when you have different rotations, different players playing together on the floor. There's a lot of sloppy passes, the ability to capitalize on offensive possessions. Jessup for 3. That is short. Ends up being a pass to Olsen. Works out just fine.
Well, I think you would rather take that than the empty 3 shot.
In fact, Courtney Olsen looked over the stats table and said that counts as an assist for Barrett.
Making sure she stays that perfect 3 for 3.
Whistle is blown. They call the foul on Olsen. That is her first personal foul. It's got to be refreshing for Olsen. In a lot of games, she tends to be in foul trouble at this point in the game.
Well, I think that also has to do with that she hasn't really seen a lot of playing time as she's one of the seniors. So they're letting these sophomore, freshmen, juniors kind of have a little bit more play time.
And Knight was good with that jumper. Snyder for 3. That's good for Snyder. Snyder's now 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. Leads the Knights in scoring with 15 points. A takeaway by Schmalbeck. Wisely kicks it out. Trying to pass it inside to Jessup. Ends up staying with the Knights. Inside to Jessup once again, up and in. Jessup now with 11 points. That's the first basket she has scored that was not a 3-pointer.
17 assists for Southern Virginia University.
Just one away from their goal of 18.
We're going to have another personnel change for Southern Virginia University here.
Olsen with the rebound. They're going to travel on Olsen again, as I believe her foot slid a little bit on her jump stop. Got an immediate timeout here. Again, we had some substitutions. We'll let you know who they are on the floor for the Knights after the media timeout. But again, the score right now standing 65-39 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia with 4 minutes and 44 seconds left to go.
So the question is, you're Southern Virginia, what are you doing? Are you just going to play just solid defense and let them just hold off the points as much as you can? Or are you going to try and go for a little bit more of the points here?
Well, any good coach will tell you that at this point, you're just going to be running through your offense. You're running through your rotations, trying to make sure you just play quality basketball. You know, you don't want to have the mentality of, oh, we'll just take it easy a little bit. We'll just kind of go through the motions, because it's a very easy trap to fall into in other games where you can't afford to do that. So again, they're just preaching, hey, take care of the ball, execute our offense, lock down defensively, and we'll finish this out, and we'll feel good about ourselves by the end of the game. The trainers have to deal with a player for Mary Baldwin. Got a player with blood. They're just making sure that none got on the floor, and if it did, that they're able to clean it up. The ball will be with Mary Baldwin. And on the floor for Southern Virginia, you got Maria Savoon, you got Emma Camden, Kayla Miyazaki. And taking the floor for the first time tonight, number 5, Sydney Durye, a freshman from Galt, California, as well as number 32, Asia Foster. Takeaway from Camden. Savoon has it. Tries to get it ahead to Miyazaki, but Clark playing stingy defense. They call it jump ball. It'll stay with the Fighting Squirrels. Great defensive effort there from Clark after the steal from Camden. There are 4 players for Southern Virginia who have gotten 4 steals in this game. They are Emma Camden, Abby Snyder, and Courtney Olson.
Savoon was almost just about to add one to her tally there a second ago.
Try passing inside. Clark recovers it. Pass it inside, up, no good. Rebounded by Duryee, but taken away by Clark. Jump shot up and no good. Rebounded by Foster.
On the floor for Mary Baldwin is going to be number 14, Gigi. We haven't seen her since she received her 4th personal foul.
Savoon up with the right hand, no good. She was fouled on the way up. And checking in for from Mary Baldwin will be number 4, Amari Knight. She will take the place of Delaney Garner. Savoon now at the free throw line. And rattles in good. Second free throw for Savoon is up and no good. Knocked out of bounds off Southern Virginia. And the Knights, compared to Mary Baldwin, have struggled for the free throws. They've made 6 of 11 compared to Mary Baldwin's 9 of 10. Whenever Mary Baldwin has gotten to the free throw line, they've been very confident in knocking it down.
And Dawson, you are also very happy to know that the SVU Knights have made their assist goal. They have 18 assists as of right now, and we'll see how much more they can extend in the next 3 minutes of play.
And indeed, any coach who makes a goal and it's met in a game is going to be happy to see that, and that'll be something they brag about to the players. There's a foul called there. I believe they're going to call this one on. Actually, I call that. That'll be Sydney Duryea. So shooting 2 free throws will be number 20, Ace Fairwright. First free throw is up and rattles in good. The Fighting Squirrels are now 10 of 11. Second free throw, up and good.
That's going to make her 4 for 4 on the night. So far, every time she's made a trip to the free throw line, she's been able to knock them down.
Miyazaki for 3. That's good.
And that's
the Knights now 9 for 21 from behind the arc.
that makes 13 players with points for Southern Virginia.
Camden goes up with left hand up and in. Assist from Miyazaki.
You can definitely tell that the Knights are having fun. They're able to play their game. They're able to have fun and just enjoy it.
Indeed, they are. A jump ball here to go to Southern Virginia with another platoon swap for the Knights. Subbing will be Addison Newman, Madison Staples, Rayanne Lessing, and number 24, Jocelyn Stewart, who is taking the floor for the first time tonight. And I like seeing this. We have both Addison Newman and Taylor Miyazaki on the floor at the same time. We haven't seen a whole lot of that so far this year, again, due to Miyazaki's early season injury.
If I remember correctly, last season it was Miyazaki and Newman who were kind of the duo of SVU. You could count on both of them like assisting each other or being able to set each other up.
Jump shot up, no good, but rebounded by Stewart. Knocked away by Clark. And it's going to go out of bounds. They're going to say it went off on Lessing. So it'll stay with the Fighting Squirrels. Number 12, Kenzie Landon checking in place of Addison Newman.
I think that'll make Taylor Miyazaki the point guard. So this will really be a test of how much rust she has.
She's got 2 defenders closing in on her. Here's Staples. Lessing for 3. No good. Rebounded by the Fighting Squirrels. 1.5 minutes to go. Here's Heilig for 3. That is good.
That's the Fighting Squirrels' first 3 of the game.
Indeed, they're now 1 for 4 from behind the 3-point line. Miyazaki for 3. That's good. It's great to see her making these 3-pointers after so long not seeing her on the floor.
Miyazaki has definitely got to be happy about those last 2 shots she's taken.
She is now 2 for 3 from behind the 3-point line.
Fouls on number 33, Madison Staples, her first.
With 6 points to her name. Heilig top the key. $15 seconds on the shot clock. It's going to go through the hands of number 20, Ace Fairwright. Another substitution for the Knights. Checking in for Miyazaki is number 5, Sydney Duryea. So 38.2 seconds. About
Coach,
7 seconds between shot and game clock.
Coach, as Miyazaki was walking by, is like, welcome back.
You love to see that. Staples driving in the lane, up the right hand, no good. Brought down by Fairwright. Heilig for 3. That's going to land out of bounds, no good. So 8 seconds left, or precisely 7.9 seconds remaining. And the clock will just run out. So Southern Virginia takes this one handily, 74-44, as Knights continue to improve on the year. Now 10-9 overall is their record, and the Fighting Squirrels now move on to be 1-19 on the year. Tough night for the Fighting Squirrels, again, due to the limited roster. There's only so much you can do. Again, there's only so conditioned you can be. And Southern Virginia gets a much-needed win trying to build up in conference standings. And again, you have a lot of contributors tonight for the Southern Virginia team. Leading the way for the Knights in scoring was Abigail Snyder with 15 points, followed by Jessup with 11, and Camden with 8. And again, 13 different players that touched the floor tonight, scoring at least 1 point. It's one of those games where, as a coach, you just love to see the hard work of all your players pay off, and for them all to show what they've learned and the skills they developed throughout the season in practice.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure, and it's nice to see some of the players being able to see court time where they normally wouldn't be in such situations. For instance, we saw Kepler being able to come back. We saw Jocelyn Stewart come into play. Eve Smallback came into play. Gurley, I believe, saw the court for the first time this season. So no, a lot of big rotations, and a lot of trial and error from the Knights today. It's going to be interesting going forward with this team. What's going to end up happening?
Absolutely, and again, you mentioned the goal that the Knights had an assist. They wanted to get 18 plus. They got 21 tonight, which again is exactly what they wanted. They want to be able to share the sugar, as Coach Brett Schroeder said, and that indeed they did. And so with that, we appreciate you all for tuning into tonight's presentation of Southern Virginia Athletics here on Knights Broadcasting. On behalf of myself, Dawson Wiedrich, my friend here, Christian Clement, thank you so much. Good night, God bless, and go Knights.